Hello, everyone. This presentation will be conducted by the dummy subjects. We are excited about the recent acquisition of WellTech by a large Chinese organization, and today we will discuss the different business communication preferences between China and the United States. We will discuss how China's culture affects business practices. We will discuss the differences in written and spoken preferences, meetings and how they are conducted, and differences in decision-making. And lastly, we will make recommendations on how to adapt to China's communication norms. With that, I'll hand it over to Matt.
When speaking about China's culture, it is key to note that they are a collectivist culture, meaning the good of the group and the good of everyone involved, as opposed to an individualist culture like the United States. That is a very, very important piece to note about their business preferences. When we talk about the culture, also, there is a key component of respect for your elders especially, but respect in general. There is also an avoidance of conflict. Conflict is a big no-no in China. You do not want to have conflict, as opposed to the United States, where conflict is very common in our business environment. There's also the idea of long-term goals and long-term relationships, as opposed to short-term goals and relationships. When speaking on written communication, they're very similar to the United States, but the key difference is respect, using full names, family names, things of that nature in your communication to show respect for those you are talking to. There's also China's official communication process, which is called Gongwang. That is broken down into three subsects called Jiangjing, superior to subordinate, Pinjiang, which is equal to equal, as well as Shangxing, subordinate to superior. It is important to know who you are speaking to and speak to them in the correct way. To talk about spoken communication, I will hand this over to Kathleen.
Because of the importance of relationship building in China, interpersonal mingling with clients is very important. Chinese businessmen and women prefer to form long-lasting bonds with clients and associates and are not discouraged from asking personal information like age, income, or relationship status, where in the US, these types of practices can be considered taboo or even unethical. Despite the emphasis on close and personal relationships, we might still see some spoken communication preferences that seem almost unfriendly in American culture, however, like stoicism, reduced eye contact, or nodding and telling white lies despite disagreement. These behaviors are not meant to be rude, they're just standard practice in Chinese culture, and we may see many of them as we partake in our business meetings. As we enter those business meetings, we should also remember that there is a strong emphasis on respect in Chinese culture. Acknowledgement of that fact can be demonstrated by bowing your head when meeting somebody, dressing formally, and being punctual. Lastly, it is very important to bring business cards to every meeting and to present in the correct manner. When presenting and receiving business cards, use both hands and be sure to have a Chinese translation on the back. The exchange of business cards is highly important as it's the first impression you make on someone who you could potentially partner with and make big decisions with. To talk more about the decision-making process, I will hand it over to May.
Decision-making in Chinese culture relies on taking the time necessary to build strong business relationships and think about the long-term rewards and consequences of these decisions. Deals are usually sealed with handshakes and returns of favors instead of the traditional negotiation contracts that we're used to seeing here in the US. The need for strong relationship building is very evident in the decision-making process, as business officials in China feel more confident in making those decisions after building a strong and trusting foundational relationship. For some recommendations that we recommend for adapting to Chinese norms, we encourage intermingling with clients and associates, asking personal questions, and taking the time to build these relationships. Use an interpreter if necessary, and learn a few simple Chinese phrases, which will go a long way in showing your respect for Chinese culture and communication. For meetings, we recommend adapting to Chinese norms by bowing when meeting someone, using the two-handed business card exchange, and being punctual and respecting business and meeting times. And now I will hand it back over to Warren.
As you can see, there are many differences in communication preferences between China and the United States. We hope this presentation helped you feel more prepared as we become one organization who promotes creativity and outperforms the market. Thank you for your time, and we welcome any questions you have.